People who have cut other people out. What was the final nail in the coffin? My mother, brother, and sister are all incredibly toxic people, but I never cut them out because they're family. Then the shit hit the fan when I was getting married. At our Jack and Jill party, my mother was taking tons of pictures, as expected, but they were of me and my brother, me and my dad, just me, my brother and my dad, etc. She didn't want my wife in any of them. I spoke up and said that my future wife should be in these pictures. It's her wedding day too. My wife, who was understandably upset, walked away from the weird photography session. My wife and I decided to go to the backyard and hang out with her cousin and stepbrother. My cousin and his girlfriend joined us. Things get more fun, we're joking around, having a good time. Then my mom and brother came outside extremely drunk. It was like 3 p.m. My mom starts up with taking more pictures without the bride in them, so I speak up again. My mom shushes me and slaps the back of my head. My wife then says my mom can enjoy her little family reunion photos and then goes back inside. I follow to make sure she's okay. I get into conversation with her mom, aunt, and other family members of hers. We calm down and move on. We talked about getting ice cream at a place down the street. I go back outside to ask people if they want to get ice cream, as most weren't causing issues, just my mom and brother. Before I say anything, my very drunk brother starts shouting F your wife, F her family, and began charging at me, but was caught by my dad and cousin who held him back. He was of course kicked out. My mom left with him in tears. My parents are divorced and don't associate with each other at all, apologized to everyone and left out of embarrassment. Wedding day comes. My brother is no longer my best man and is not invited. My sister is here from the other side of the country. The ceremony goes perfectly. My sister refuses to attend the pictures being taken of family and wedding party outside. During the reception, my wife, friends, some of my wife's family, and I are busy dancing on the dance floor. We notice my sister crying and walking around from table to table. We ignored it, as we expected her to try something dumb at our wedding. We found out from someone that my sister was trash-talking my wife in the bathroom. We don't want to deal with drama on our big day, so we have the person in charge of the wedding hall / supervising the reception staff talk to her about her behavior. She told us we could during the wedding planning process. My sister freaks out and acts all offended. She and my mom then staged a walkout protest of our wedding, taking a large majority of my aunts, uncles, and cousins with them, not all thankfully. What happened to your school bully? In high school, I had 2 bullies. Mark was tall and lanky and always tripped me and kicked my book bag into the street. His bullying was more prankish than malicious, but it still bugged me. Tom was shorter, stocky, and brutal. I took a number of ass kickings, sent home bloodied, scuffed up, ripped clothes. I came home to my brothers and mom, who would cut me down. My mom would cuss me out and threatened if you run from a fight, you'll have a worse one when you get home, a threat my siblings carried out without her okaying it. Tired of the beatings in school and the embarrassment and beating at home, I finally got the nerve to retaliate against Mark and Tom. I caught Mark off guard and pushed him really hard into a brick wall. I scratched up his face while punching him in the head several times, until he broke free and ran. Tom was a harder nut to crack. The first time I retaliated, he came up behind me and punched me between the shoulder blades, knocking the wind out of me. I turned to smash him with my trumpet case and he KO'd me with one punch. I came to in the nurse's office. The assistant principal was with the nurse and my mom. They were talking about the incident, and the nurse told them I had been in her office several times for bruises, twists, strains, but I never told who did them, and they were trying to blame mom, who was no angel, mind you, but that's forever ago, and, well, she's mom. I was still groggy when I got up from the bed in the nurse's office. I clumsily pushed past mom, the nurse, and Mr. A, went to my locker, and grabbed my skateboard. And then I sat, patiently, on the mini wall in front of the school, where every day, I would take a beating or some other humiliation from Tom. He showed up, his menacing face making me afraid. I was terrified, but now wasn't the time to back down. My mom, my teachers, other students, I wasn't going to get punked out this time. I stood up, still unsteady from the punch in the face I took earlier. I licked my lip, tasting the dried blood's metallic saltiness, and I felt the swelling on my cheek from the punch, and I got angry. It was a blur, but I do remember Tom diving at me, and I clobbered him in the face with my board, putting him on his back, and me, significantly smaller but enraged, pounding and kicking him mercilessly. Slamming my board into the side and top of his head. I lost it, I snapped, and I actually kind of liked it. I attacked my bully, and the rage against him and my family fueled my fighting back. I spent the night in juvenile lockup, but the school dropped the proposed expulsion charges against me, as it was proven I was bullied by this guy. There were no assault charges, because he assaulted me first. After that, though, the small, evil kid with the yellow skateboard was left alone, and his brothers thought twice or more before messing with me. How did your marriage end? I was sitting at my computer typing. A door closes. I hear her walking into the house. She had been out with her mother. She says my name from our bedroom. Her voice is broken. I can tell she is crying. I get up and walk to the room. I look in. She is staring at the ceiling with tears slowly streaming down her face. Slowly walking over, I sit next to her, unaware I was entering the final true moments of my marriage. I am very concerned. Mary? What is wrong? She cries for a moment while I rub my hand in circles on her back. She doesn't look at me. She keeps looking forward. I don't think I want to be married to you anymore. My hand stops. My eyes go wide. What? She is crying, takes a breath. I don't think I want to be married to you anymore. What are you talking about, hun? What happened? She says I'm just not happy. I'm not in love with you anymore. I don't think I love you. Things had been a little frosty for a couple months, but not terrible. What is going on? I say, babe, what? What is this? Everything is fine? How did we get here? We were trying to have a kid 6 months ago. Now we are breaking up? Whatever it is, I'm sure I can fix it. I love you, hun. She ignores me, says I'm going to stay at my friend's house, starts packing some of her things as I stare in confusion. She walks to the front door and I follow, trying to figure it all out. I walk out front with her as she walks to her car. I start encouraging her to stay. She says nothing, just that she needs to go away for a while. She gets in her car, says goodbye. I stand in our gravel driveway and watch her drive off. I walk back and sit down on my front porch and stare blankly at the ground for 30 minutes. Completely, utterly, shocked. I was totally blindsided, unable to even feel heartbreak yet. The backstory: our marriage wasn't great up until that point, but it wasn't terrible by any means. We'd been trying to have a kid. We were both 28. We tried for 7 months unsuccessfully and gave up for a while. I encouraged her to see a doctor. She got very depressed. She started drinking a lot and going out. I tried to convince her to get help. She wouldn't listen. She stopped coming home some nights. I thought nothing of it. I trusted her completely. After she leaves that day, I fought hard, really hard. She keeps refusing to come home, ignoring most of my calls. I keep telling her we can't work on our marriage if we aren't living together. I call her mother, trying to get her to talk to her. For months I do everything, appeasing her whims, expressing how much I love her, and saying I'm sorry for anything and everything I've done to let her down. I have an epiphany. Nothing about all of this made sense. I hadn't done anything that bad to her to begin with. I had always been sweet. I had never yelled, called her a name, hit her or anything. I cooked several nights a week. Hell, I even brought home flowers on occasion. I know what bad BF/husbands are. I definitely wasn't one of them. That night, I literally jolt awake in sweats. I think she is cheating on me. I get out of bed. I find a computer in our closet where I know her email/Facebook are still logged in. I go on and find pictures of her on her Facebook account, in private messages, going to Disney with another guy and his kid. She doesn't have her wedding ring on. I look down and see mine still on my hand. I go to her email and find tons of pictures with her and him. Details I can't go into here. It was like something out of a movie, and totally devastating. This wasn't supposed to happen. I asked for a divorce. It was a very difficult period. There were days where the air felt very still around me, like time had stopped, flattened out into a long perpetual groaning moment where all I could hear was the sound of my heart slowly breaking. It was difficult on my mother, who saw the pain it was causing me. I tried very hard to hide it around her, but she saw right through it as any mother would. Slowly but surely it started to get better. I started pouring my energy into exercise, my studies, my career and family. I never turned to alcohol or drugs. Today, I have a new lease on life. I've met an amazing girl. She is extremely supportive, loyal, and if I might say, gorgeous. Got a promotion, am finishing my MBA. I couldn't be happier. Best wishes to all those who have gone through something similar. Divorce/hard breakups are very, very hard. Just remember to breathe. It will all be okay. Time heals the deepest of wounds.